Hello everybody, back again. Today we're in Quakertown, Pennsylvania at the Quakertown train station. A beautifully maintained and preserved train station maintained by some friends of mine who happen to belong to the Quakertown Train Station Historical Society. Actually, my friend Don is the president, or was the president. I think he still is. I'm not sure. This station here was built in 1902 by the Philadelphia and Reading. Before the Philadelphia and Reading took over this branch, it started out as the North Penn Railroad. It went from, I think, Bethlehem to Philadelphia. Came up through Bethlehem, Quakertown, Hellertown, Telford, into Lansdale. Let's see, Lansdale, up through that way. And then eventually from Lansdale, Penland, whatever, all those other stations that are current day SEPTA stops, then you ended up in Philadelphia. Like I said, it started out as the North Penn Railroad, and then got absorbed by the Philadelphia and Reading, or taken over by the Philadelphia and Reading. And this station, I think, was built by the Philadelphia and Reading in 1902. This branch is not exactly my source of expertise by any stretch of the imagination, but we're not really here for the station. That's not exactly why we're here. Again, like I said, this line out here was actually the Philadelphia, or this fact, yeah. Well, like I've said before, Philadelphia and Reading, which eventually became the Reading Railroad. Same railroad, just changed name, reformed, etc., etc. But this is actually was the Bethlehem branch of the Reading Railroad / Philadelphia and Reading Railroad. This was the Bethlehem branch. It turned into Conrail, or no, it didn't go into Conrail. Went right to SEPTA. That's right. 1974. Yeah, that's right. It's a pretty common thing. A lot of these former Reading branches went to, a lot of them went right to Conrail. But like I said, this was Philadelphia and Reading, and then it got taken over. The line, the station, all the property got taken over by SEPTA. And then in 1989, the station had a significant fire in 1989, and then I guess SEPTA gave up on it. Wanted to total it or destroy it, and then a bunch of people in Quakertown got together. Nice little replica shack here. In Quakertown got together and decided to save the station, and I think that's when the Train Station Historical Society was formed, after the fire in '89 when the station was rebuilt. Again, this is not my expertise, this line or the station, but the reason we're here is for this boxcar. Now, I know oftentimes there's not a lot of things that are too thrilling about an old boxcar, but this one's kind of neat. Has quite a history, and the fact that it still survives is, again, something of some interest. The Raritan River Railroad was a short line in New Jersey. Never really studied it, never knew too much about it. But one day I was sitting here at an event, and I looked up and I'm like, that's not just a regular old crappy boxcar. That's kind of cool. It's kind of old. So I started doing some research on it a few years ago, and found out a little bit of information about it. It actually lived quite a neat life. It was built in 1926, and I used to know the name of the company that made it. Something Steel Cars or something Steel something. Don't remember exactly. But this was built in 1926, and the interesting thing about it was it spent its whole early life on the Raritan River Railroad. Now you're probably saying, well, yeah, of course it did, because that's the name on it and that's who owned it. But this was a non-interchange car. What interchange means is cars and equipment that would go down to interchange and be taken offline to other railroads with goods. this stayed on the Raritan River, which basically worked the local trains. So this spent its whole early life as a non-interchange car. So it never went to any other railroads, never delivered goods anywhere else besides its home line. Sometime in 1970, somehow it caught fire. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe what was inside of it caught fire, because I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can have a metal box catch fire. I don't know about that. But 1970, it caught fire, and the insurance company wrote it off. But it survived, and the railroad fixed it up and repaired whatever needed to be repaired. Probably the wood inside. Most boxcars are lined with wood floors and wood walls. That probably caught fire somehow. That's probably what burnt. And then, like a lot of railroads, like I said earlier about Conrail, this railroad was absorbed into Conrail. The Raritan River was taken over by Conrail, which was odd, because it was a smaller short line railroad, and it was also wasn't absorbed into Conrail until much later on, until 1980. A lot of the lines that were absorbed into Conrail, like the Reading, Jersey Central, Lehigh Valley, etc., were all kind of absorbed at one shot in 1976, when Conrail first started operating as Conrail on April 1st, 76. But this line was absorbed later on. Like I said, this was absorbed into Conrail in 1980. And this boxcar's number was 47163. That was its Conrail number. And then it disappeared. Disappeared for a while. A lot of people apparently, I guess, it disappeared and was thought to be scrapped. But it popped up one day, sitting at the hold on a second here. The noise behind me. I'm gonna wait for it to settle down for a second. Getting loud squeal noise behind me. Okay, so then it appeared in the mid 80s, late 80s, sitting in Lancaster, the Lancaster Conrail yard, being used for storage. At that point, it was no longer on its trucks, and it was sitting up on ties or blocked up somehow. But so yeah, so they thought it disappeared, but it reappeared as a storage container, basically, in the Conrail yard in Lancaster. Sat there through the 90s, and then once again it disappeared again and was lost track of. Then in 2002 it reappeared right where you see it, in 2002. It is owned and maintained by the Train Station Historical Society, as far as I know. I'm not sure if they're the ones who brought it here or not, but I just figured it was kind of neat, because this thing, you know, caught fire, went to Conrail, it was lost, ended up in Lancaster for a while, and like I said, it was built in 1926, so it's amongst the older ones. You can see it's what's considered a 40-foot boxcar. You see IL, that's inside length. All the measurements on boxcars is the actual inside length. That's inside width is 9 feet, inside height is 10 feet. 3,900 cubic feet. Actually, that says built in 36. All my research said 26. Huh. Something's wrong here. But anyway, BLT, we're not talking about a sandwich. Built in November of 1936. I'm gonna have to check my research a little bit, because my research said 1926. Anyway, so yeah, IL 40 feet, IW 9 feet, because basically the outside length and width and etc. of a boxcar doesn't mean anything. It's the inside storage space is what matters. So they always rated everything by the inside width, height, and length. They also often had the build date on the bottom when they were built. See, this was restored. This was restored some years ago. Could use another paint job, without a doubt. But it's a nice metal, early 20th century representation of an early, steel box car, which is pretty cool. See, Raritan River. Still has the original the original trucks. Like I said before, these are friction bearing, although railroaders will, do not like that term. They like to call it plain bearings. They, for some reason, don't like the term friction bearings. But even though, like I said on my last video, the word bearing is very loosely used because there are actually no bearings. The axle rides on a brass block with packing and grease. So I would almost think these might be the original trucks. They got N and W on them, which would usually be Norfolk and Western. But got N and W, but it has the same build date as it's on the side of the boxcar. So maybe I'm correct with it being 1926, and maybe when they made the stickers they based it off of what the truck said, and maybe the trucks are wrong because, like I said, these look like Norfolk and Western trucks. They say 11 of 36, and that says 11 of 36. So who knows? But yeah, like I said, this is it's a neat old steel 40-foot boxcar. And it's interesting too how there's some type of, this thing was followed throughout the years. People actually like this thing enough to have traced its history and to keep track of it, because oftentimes an old boxcar is not the star of the show. You can find all the information in the world about locomotives, even passenger cars, etc. But when it comes to freight equipment, not so much. Well, actually, I forgot to mention, its original number was number 100, Raritan River 100. Corrugated end, steel boxcar. I always liked this style. But yeah, this line here is operated current day. Actually, the Historical Society runs, I'm pretty sure they're the ones who own the station now. Although the railroad itself is actually still owned by SEPTA. But East Penn Railroad runs the freight on it, even though it's still SEPTA. East Penn has a few customers down that way, and they pick up freight and they interchange down in Telford with Pennsylvania Northeastern. Then Pennsylvania Northeastern takes the freight that they picked up and then they take it into Lansdale, and then either they take it into the city at night after SEPTA's done running, or CSX picks it up from Lansdale Yard. I'm not sure. I was told two different stories, but I don't live down that way and I don't get to see the action at night. But yeah, that's definitely it's definitely run by East Penn. Like I said, then they interchange with Pennsylvania Northeastern. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how many people find old boxcar interesting, but I do. I love old rolling stock, especially something like this. I don't know too much about the Raritan River, but I think it was formed in 1888 and actually lasted until 1980. Like I said, when it was taken over by Conrail in 1980. So 1888 to 1980 is pretty good. I know when Conrail took over, this actually, another reason why this is kind of a rare survivor, Conrail was good at destroying stuff. They destroyed a lot of Baldwins, a lot of equipment, stations, infrastructure. If it wasn't needed, it got scrapped. So apparently all the locomotives, Raritan River locomotives, were all destroyed, and most of the boxcars and rolling stock were also destroyed by Conrail when Conrail took over. And somehow this survived. Like I said, I'm not sure how many other Raritan River anything exists yet. Maybe I'll do some more researching for it, but definitely not much of any besides this one. So yep, this thing survived, interchange only, survived the fire, disappeared a couple times, ended up under Conrail at the Lancaster Yard, ended up here. The old boxcar that wouldn't disappear. So, alright, well, figured I'd do something a little different. Maybe next week something back on the perk again. So gotta love the Reading Diamond, don't you? All right, well, thanks for checking it out, and I will see you next time.